Sound to your mind.
Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Shouts all on my team, I need more than a mattress support. In my dreams, could grab a few Zeds like I'm falling asleep, but I don't wanna wake for the morning. Grief, breathe. Tears drop to the form in the sea. A broke heart, but it's worn in my sleeve. Never listened, I was warned in my teens, but I still skip school, I was taught in the streets. Ring back, don't call for police. Stand tall, don't fall for the beast. Got issues with trust, so I'm born to believe. We've been a victim of love and now we're caught in it deep. Breathe.
Yes, people, what's happening? And welcome back to Gav Goes In. Big up yourselves for coming on each and every time. Guys, make sure you're smashing the likes. Make sure you are subbing to the channel. Make sure you are sharing the channel on all your platforms as well. And guys, keep your questions, keep your comments coming through. And big up to yourselves each and every time. And hope you guys are having a good weekend. So listen, this is a stream, yeah, that I've been thinking of doing for a little while now, you know, and again, just to let people know, this is not an Arsenal channel. This is not a Manchester United channel. Obviously, my team is Manchester United. But again, I'm well versed in football as it is. And I do like to discuss different things, whether it's Man United, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's all teams, you know. So as I said, this is one that I've been meaning to do, you know. And as you guys can see in the title, you know, the Arsenal players who went on to achieve success. Now, I've managed to compile it down to 18 players, you know. And again, when I go through each player, you know, that has left Arsenal and that has gone on to have success, you know, to think the amount of trophies that these guys have won since leaving Arsenal. And I think during that time, I believe Arsenal might have won, I think, 1 or 2 trophies, I think, from those players leaving. So again, if there is more players that I've probably missed out on, then yeah, make sure you throw that in the chat and make sure you make sure you let me know, guys. But again, I've got the Emirates Stadium in the background, as you guys can see. You know, I thought it was only right to put that on. And as I said, yeah, this is gonna be a good one because when I went through it myself, yeah, I couldn't believe the amount of trophies that these players all won together, you know, since leaving Arsenal. Crazy, you know. And again, it's since leaving the Emirates. So I believe it's the Emirates. The majority of them are since leaving the Emirates. As I said, there's 18 players that I've managed to compile, and we are going to do it in a formation. So let me just get the formation screen up quickly for you guys. Just bear me 1 minute. Where is it? Right, I'm gonna get the lineup builder, guys. Let me see. So, guys, yeah, I'm gonna share the screen, yeah. And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go with the 4-2-3-1 formation. Where is it? Let's just change this quickly now. All these pop-ups. So we're gonna call this Arsenal players who moved on for success. Right, so we're going to go to 4-2-3-1. And again, there is obviously more than 11 players, but the other players they'll just be as subs. Yeah. So big up to BOB. Just came in. Haha, VP, the main man. Listen, not just VP, man. Not just VP. Obviously, if anyone doesn't know, that's Robin van Persie. Big up to Sade Timmons as well. Big up to Yaya as well. So again, we're going to go through them, guys, yeah? And we're not going to go through position by position, just the order that I've got down, yeah? So the first player we're going to discuss is Thierry Henry. Now, arguably, you know, many people would say arguably Arsenal's greatest ever player. You know, I think personally, you're looking at between him and Bergkamp, you know, maybe the Fabregases as well, but definitely one of their greatest ever players, you know, arguably the greatest ever player to play in the Premier League. And again, as we know, you know, Thierry Henry, hugely successful with Arsenal, having to move on to Barcelona. You know, you say he moved on to Barcelona, not in his prime years, you know, but, you know, for me, I think the main thing about Henry was that Henry wasn't the Henry that I remember in the Premier League when he went to Barca. You know, and I've often touched on this already. For me, it kind of just showed, it's nothing on Henry, but it kind of showed the level that Barcelona were at when Henry decided to obviously make the move to them. You know, obviously he played from the left. And again, he's someone for me that, you know, was the main star in the Premier League, no doubt. But going to Barcelona, as I said, he wasn't the same Henry. But nonetheless, you know, the guy did win trophies over there. And, you know, I think it's one of them things where, if we're being honest, he had to leave Arsenal to go and win a Champions League trophy. And I think everyone, if we're being honest, would actually agree with that. So, yeah, Henry goes in there. On the left-hand side, I'm going to play him as well. So, Thierry Henry, since leaving Arsenal, guys, obviously with Barcelona, that Champions League, which he won, 2 La Ligas and a Copa del Rey. So, again, Henry, hugely successful after leaving Arsenal. And as I said, he's going to go in on that left-hand side for me. These pop-ups. So, yeah, Thierry Henry, guys, goes in there on that left-hand side. And then the next player we're going to move on to, you know, is probably arguably someone for them, you know, well, I mean, let's just say it. He's arguably their best left-back of all time. You know, I don't think no one's come close to him. I would say in terms of left-backs, I'm looking at probably Gael Clichy. You know, I'm probably looking at, even if you want to go back as far as the likes of Nigel Winterburn, you know what I mean? So if you're looking at players like that, they might come into the reckoning. But I reckon in terms of, you know, what this player's won, there's no doubt for me that he goes in that left back. And that's Ashley Cole. So I'm going to put his name in. And obviously we're going to go through what Ashley Cole has won. Again, Ashley Cole for me, you know, arguably the best left back of all time. I think if we're being honest, yeah, the only other left back, you know, and I have spoken about this before, the only other left back that I believe that can compete with Ashley Cole as being the world's greatest left back, I mean, the best left back to play in the Premier League, I think I'm only looking at Evra. You know, I think there's other players that, you know, might be in with a shout, but I think Evra's the only one really that can say that, you know, he's arguably as good as Ashley Cole. You know what I mean? Ashley Cole obviously moving on to Chelsea from Arsenal. Again, I'm not even sure how many trophies Ashley Cole won at Arsenal, but when he went to Chelsea, you know, he more or less won everything there. You know, you got the one Champions League there, the one Premier League, which I was quite shocked at. I thought he might have won more than one Premier League, but he's got the Europa League, and then he's got the 4 FA Cups in there, yeah, to make it a total of 7. So again, Ashley Cole, hugely successful after leaving Arsenal, you know, going on to win, as I say, 7 trophies at Chelsea. And, you know, you'd probably say Chelsea was the club that he arguably had his greatest success. I think everyone would agree with that. And again, he gets his place in that left back. Moving on, guys. Now, I'm just going to put his name in there straight away, you know, and I think you guys probably know where I'm going with this. You know, I think there's a few Arsenal fans that might be crying in the chat, but it is what it is. And that is none other than Robin van Persie. Now, I think Van Persie, for me, you know, and again, he won the one Premier League with my team, Manchester United. Now, Van Persie, for me, you know, was arguably at Arsenal. You'd probably say at the time he was the best player in the league. You know, he was their captain, their top scorer, their best player. And again, without him, I don't know where they would have finished, because he was instrumental along with the likes of Fabregas. But obviously, when Fabregas went to Arsenal, then Van Persie was there. I can't remember how long he was there for after. But again, he was their captain. And as I said, man, VP, what a player. You know, arguably one of the best strikers to play in the Premier League. I knew Clockenders were coming. Big up yourself, Clockenders, for coming through. Yeah, listen, this will be one that you're going to enjoy. Yeah. So Robin van Persie, you know, I class Van Persie as our legend. I think the fact that he won us the Premier League title, and when I say he won us the Premier League title, like, you can never really win a Premier League title with one player, let's be honest. But, you know, it's a team game, as we know. But he was arguably the reason why we won that league title. And the game that I remember was when he scored that free kick against Man City to win the game 3-2. You know, with that sweet left foot that he had. And again, you know, he had to leave Arsenal to go and win a Premier League title. It's what happens, isn't it? You know, and as I said, man, what a player he was. You know, I think the only thing that Van Persie would probably be gutted about is not winning the Well, no, he would be gutted about is not winning the Champions League, because a player of his quality, you know, for me, should always be, you know, in the reckoning to be winning Champions League with whatever team. So, but again, the fact that, you know, he come to us, won us the league title in what, his first season. Yeah, listen, I got mad respect for Van Persie, man. What a player. And again, if those of you that don't actually remember, yeah, when Van Persie was actually at Feyenoord, Van Persie was actually playing as a left wing back, believe it or not. Yeah, I don't think many people would actually know that. He was actually playing as a left wing back, which is crazy of some of that ability. So yeah, Van Persie's in there. And then we move on to, for me, I think people might say Vieira. You know, people might say, I'm trying to think. Even, I mean, there might be some fans that are delusional that might even say Declan Rice. Yeah. But for me, as a central midfielder, I think he's been their best ever central midfielder, in my opinion. And he goes into that team, and I think you guys know who I'm going to go with here, and that is Cesc Fabregas. And, you know, I have mentioned this previously before, yeah. I think when it comes to talk about who is the, you know, the greatest ever central midfielder to play in the Premier League, for me, Cesc Fabregas' name is often overlooked to me. You know, it's always talk about Scholes, Gerrard, you know, Lampard gets thrown in there. You know, obviously, I'm talking about attacking midfielders, the De Bruyne's, the Yaya Tourés, you know, the Roy Keanes. Like, a lot of these names get thrown in. And I think someone like Cesc Fabregas, his name gets overlooked. Why that is, I'm not too sure. But he's always overlooked in terms of the best central midfielders. And for me, I think he's, when you're looking at the best central midfielders to play in the Premier League, I think he's in the top 5, you know, and I definitely do think he's Arsenal's best central midfielder. And as I said, man, the guy is so adaptable. You know, who would have thought for Barcelona and for Spain, you'd see Cesc Fabregas playing in the false 9 position. You know, it's mad. And that just shows how good he is. That just shows how intelligent he was as a player, that he could just go, you know, and play as a false 9 and transition to that position so easily, you know. And as I said, he's someone that doesn't even get his flowers. And big up to Nepal Sorgat says, Cesc even assisted in the World Cup 10 final. And again, if anyone remembers the goal by Iniesta, yeah, one of my favorite ever players, go and have a look at the assist by Fabregas through the eye of a needle pass. And then obviously, as we know, the rest is history, you know. And again, the fact that Cesc Fabregas has won, you know, La Liga, Premier League, World Cup. I believe he won a Euros as well. Surprisingly, he didn't win a Champions League, which again is mad. But as I said, he's one of the best midfielders to ever play in the Premier League, central midfielders. You know, I think if we're saying who's above him, I mean, for me, you're looking at Scholes, you're looking at Gerrard, you're looking at Yaya Toure. You know, I think those three, you know, you could put Vieira in there and probably a few others. You know, Paul Pogba as an actual talent, you know, is definitely there. But again, if we're looking at the complete thing in terms of league titles and all these other things that factor into it, then he might miss out just. But in terms of Cesc Fabregas, his level, man, he was that good. And again, leaving Arsenal to go and play for Barca and Chelsea, you know, you've got a La Liga in there. I'm surprised again, he only won one La Liga, 2 Premier League titles with Chelsea, an FA Cup with Chelsea, and a Europa League with Chelsea. So 5 trophies for Cesc Fabregas since leaving the Arsenal, you know, which is crazy. It is crazy because, as I said, I've got 18 players there. We are going to do the 11, and then we are going to do the bench players as well. I mean, they're not really the bench players, but, you know, I mean, obviously I'm putting the 11 that, you know, won probably the most or are the standout players in a sense. Moving on, guys. So we've got, again, I'm going to move on from, I'm not going position by position. So on the right-hand side, yeah, we are going to go for, again, another former United. I wouldn't say great because, I mean, you know, when he comes to United, he was nothing short of an embarrassment, you know, for the money that he was on and for what he produced, you know. And again, he's another player that, for me, in hindsight, you're looking, Alexis Sanchez. But then, and again, when Sanchez was at Barcelona, you know, he was devastating, you know what I mean? And at Barcelona, he was good. Arsenal, he was devastating, you know. And I think the fact that he was on his way down, which is why he didn't really have the career that he should have at United. You know, he was signed by Mourinho as well, which put Martial's nose out of a joint really as well, because Martial was keeping him and Pogba were keeping Mourinho in a job, and then Mourinho decided to go and sign Sanchez and disrupt Martial's game, you know. But again, massively talented player. You know, his best career really was at Arsenal. I think everyone would agree. But again, I'm not sure what Sanchez won at Arsenal. I don't know if he won that much, if anything. Yeah, but there's no doubting when he left. Arsenal, he did have success in winning trophies. You know, and again, 2 Serie A's with Inter Milan and 3 Coppa Italias with Inter Milan. You know, so 5 trophies there. And again, a player of his level, you know, should have won trophies really at Arsenal. But, and again, I'm not sure how many he won at Arsenal, but yeah, this is why he ended up going, because he was a winner. Obviously, him coming to Man United didn't materialize in anything, but obviously he went off to Inter Milan. And as we know, Inter Milan are the dominant team right now in Italy. And he won 2 Serie A's and 3 Coppa Italias, you know. But I think in terms of Arsenal's best ever players, he's up there for me. You're looking at Henry, you're looking at Bergkamp, Van Persie, Fabregas, Vieira, Ashley Cole, Sanchez. These guys are all in the mix, you know what I mean? So yeah, another top player, man. Clockender says that left foot though, Gav, incredible player. Bro, listen, man. Listen, you ain't got to tell me about Van Persie, bro, because we witnessed him firsthand, man. He won us the title. So yeah, listen, man, that left foot was mad. I mean, the one goal I remember Van Persie scoring, not even for Man United, though. Well, the one for Man United that everyone knows when Rooney played the ball off the volley, like that was just textbook Van Persie. But the goal that I remember Van Persie scoring for Arsenal, and again, if you're an Arsenal fan, you'll probably even remember this one, yeah, was when he played against Charlton at the Valley. And I can't remember who crossed the ball in, and it was reminiscent of the goal that he scored for United against who was it they scored when Rooney played that ball? If you go and look at the goal we scored against Charlton, it was quite similar to what he'd done for when Rooney played him the ball for the volley, you know. And again, it just shows you that, you know, Van Persie does this on a regular basis. He was that good, the left foot was just that sweet, you know what I mean? So, what a player, man. What a player. Alexis hated it up there, Gav. Hated it. Yeah, listen, we put him on what? Was he on something like 350 a week or something mad like that? And I can't even remember what his return for goals was like, you know, because the performances just weren't there. But again, man, it was poor decision making from whoever thought it would be good to sign him on that kind of money. You know, it's about doing your homework on players, and you could see that he was regressing at Arsenal before we went and signed him, which is crazy, really. But top player. Big up to Exedra, big up my guy, big up each and every time. Guys, make sure you're smashing the likes, make sure you're subbing to the channel if you're new in here, and make sure you are sharing the channel as well. Right, let's move it on. Next person we're gonna put in there, yeah. And again, this isn't the positions that these guys played, but it's about just filling the positions. Next one we're gonna put in is a player that was signed from Southampton, like a lot of players that the North London clubs, Arsenal and Tottenham do. You think of Gareth Bale, you think of Theo Walcott, and again, another player that was signed from them, playing his trade in Scotland right now with Celtic, and that is Alex Oxlade Chamberlain. Again, Oxlade Chamberlain was a central midfielder, right winger, but obviously I'm fitting him in as a right back here because if you guys didn't remember, again, Arsenal fans should remember this one. Oxlade Chamberlain actually played as a wing back under, was it under Unai Emery? He played wing back. It might have been. I swear it was under Unai Emery. I think he might have played wing back. And again, there was a lot of hype about Oxlade Chamberlain when he first arrived, you know, when they first got him from Southampton. You know, they tried to make him and Theo Walcott as the Southampton double duo. You know, didn't really work out like that, but it is what it is. You know, it was no Anderson and no Nani, put it that way, yeah. But I thought Oxlade Chamberlain was actually a good player. I thought he was a very good player. Who got 60 goals in 122 appearances? That can't have been Oxlade Chamberlain. Was that Sanchez? 60 goals in 122. Yes, Sanchez got 60 goals in 122. You know what? I would have expected him to get more than that, if I'm honest. Tudor's been sacked. No way. He's been sacked. I mean, it's not really surprising. Let me see this. 1 second. Let me see this. Has he been sacked? I mean, to be fair, if he's been sacked, I'm not sure what took so long. I mean, why he was brought in the first place makes no sense. But I mean, I haven't seen nothing, guys. If there's any real news, any real quotes, if Igor Tudor's been sacked, then put that in the chat, guys. So yeah, Sanchez 60 goals in 122 appearances for Arsenal. Yeah, I would have thought he got more than that personally, you know, but he was a top player for them, man, no doubt. But yeah, Oxlade Chamberlain, guys, obviously playing for Celtic right now. And again, between Liverpool and Besiktas, won Champions League. You know, there's quite a few Arsenal players that have to leave Arsenal to go and win Champions League, which is madness. He got the one Premier League with Liverpool as well, and then 3 Turkish Cups with Besiktas. And again, like another player, yeah, in a long list that just has to leave Arsenal to go and win the serious trophies. You know, what did Oxlade Chamberlain win at Arsenal? That's what I'd like to know. Clockenders, let us know what Oxlade Chamberlain won at Arsenal, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't much, you know. Big up, man, to Christopher. Big up yourself. Right, let's move it on, and we're gonna go to goalkeeper. Yeah, and again, you guys are probably might be thinking of a certain somebody else, but if we're talking about club wise, this guy went on to win trophies, and he has to be considered in there as well. And that is Wojciech Szczesny. Obviously, currently at Barcelona. Obviously, back up to Juan Garcia at the moment. But again, Szczesny, I think Szczesny was a goalkeeper that wasn't really regarded, like that in terms of the best keepers in the league. I actually thought he was a decent keeper for Arsenal. I know there's a lot of people that didn't really rate him like that. A lot of Arsenal fans that I've spoken to as well didn't really rate him like that. But I thought he was decent. But in terms of what he won leaving Arsenal, he's gone to some big clubs, Juventus and Barcelona. Yeah. And again, it just shows you really that, if he's left Arsenal to go to them kind of clubs, there is some sort of pedigree there. You'd have to admit, yeah. And going to Juventus and Barcelona, he was successful there. You can't even say he wasn't, yeah. And he's had 3 Serie A's, 1 Coppa Italia, and 1 La Liga with Barcelona. Wojciech Szczesny. And again, I don't know how many things he won at Arsenal, but I'm pretty sure he didn't accumulate more than 5. Just saying. Big up yourself. Fabrizio said he's on the brink, probably the Liverpool game. Yeah, big up Exedra, bro. Listen, I don't think it's a surprise that Tudor's going to get sacked, man. And this might be the game that's going to do it. Because if we're being honest with you, when you bring in a new manager or a caretaker manager, there should be some sort of bounce. You know what I mean? If anything, they've got worse. You know what I mean? Who would have thought that? They've actually got worse. And you look at the fact they sacked Ange Postecoglou last season. You look at the fact that they brought Thomas Frank in, he got sacked. For me, they were 2 managers that I believe deserved longer. You look at Postecoglou winning the Europa for Tottenham. Thomas Frank was struggling, but to be fair, he was doing a good job. He's obviously doing a better job than what Tudor's doing right now. But again, yeah, man, they've just messed it up, innit? But I think you'll have to say, man, that Tudor coming in has given them nothing really. So yeah, it's one of them things, isn't it? Big up to Craven Cottage. Big up yourself. Yeah, he's a good shot stopper, to be fair. He is. But again, he went on to win 5 trophies, man, in total at Juve and at Barcelona. So you can't even, you can't even hate on it, really. Yeah, you can't even hate on it. Next player coming in, one of their main players in midfield, their captain, is he arguably their greatest ever captain? I think some fans might say Tony Adams. Some fans might say Fabregas. Some fans might even say Van Persie. Who knows? You know what I mean? But some people might even say Odegaard. You know what I mean? But I think it's safe to say Patrick Vieira, was a massive player for Arsenal. One of their greatest players for me as well. And again, part of the Invincibles, just like Henry, just like Henry as well. And again, him leaving Arsenal, Juventus, Inter Milan, Man City, winning trophies all there. With Juventus and Inter, there's a combined 5 Serie A's there. I think one of them got scrapped off because of the Juventus scandal that was going on. But still, he won 4 Serie A's with Inter Milan, and then the 1 FA Cup with Man City. And I believe he's only at Man City for 1 or 2 seasons, I think, as well. But again, another great player, Patrick Vieira. Another player that's probably won it all apart from Champions League, which is crazy, And again, he's won a World Cup, he's won a Euros, league titles. You know what I mean? Yeah, man, FA Cup, Serie A. So yeah, hugely successful player, Patrick Vieira. And yeah, man. I'm looking at this team right now. Yeah, you've got Szczesny in goal, Oxlade, Chamberlain, and Ashley Cole as the fullbacks, Fabregas and Vieira in midfield, Henry and Sanchez out wide, and Van Persie through the middle. Yeah, I mean, boy, what a team that is! I ain't gonna lie, man. That is a formidable team. And again, you know what makes me laugh? Yeah, is that these players are all ranked arguably as their best players. I think there's one player that's gonna miss out, which he's definitely up there. But there's 3 positions really. But you're looking at all these players as their best players, which is crazy. You know, madness. Let's move it on. And we're going to go on to the number 10 position. I think someone's already said it in the chat. Big up to Craven Cottage, yeah? So it is going to be Samir Nasri. And again, Samir Nasri, what a player he was, you know. And again, those of you that don't know my career back when I was in the academy, when I was playing, I actually played against Samir Nasri as a 14-year-old when Nasri was at Marseille, you know, and he's arguably the best player I've played against, you know what I mean? And again, like, he's someone that didn't really get his flowers that he deserved, you know, in terms of how good he was. And again, he's someone that at Arsenal, when at number 8 shirt, you know, he was someone that was instrumental for them. And I remember that Arsenal team when they had, was it him? Who did they have? Was it Nasri, Van Persie, I think Wilshere, Fabregas, I think we're all in there as well, Abu Diaby. And again, man, yeah, it was he was instrumental in that team as well. And again, when I look at that, when I look at that Arsenal team from before, the kind of players they had, and you look at them now, like, it's night and day, innit? You know what I mean? Between the players they had before. Because I literally cannot make a case for any current Arsenal player getting anywhere near Arsenal's greatest ever team. There's not a case for not one player. You know, I think people might say Gabriel Magalhaes, but is Gabriel Magalhaes better than Koscielny? You know, better than Kolo Toure, Sol Campbell? I mean, does he go into that kind of reckoning with them? I don't think so, because he hasn't won anything. Whereas them guys did. So, yeah, maybe in the future, if he manages to steer Arsenal to a Champions League or a league title, there's a conversation to be had. But I think as it stands, man, I don't think there's not one player, man, that gets in there. At right back, you know, Timber's been very good, but is Timber getting here ahead of Bakary Sagna? You know, ahead of Lauren? Not for me. Boy, even Hector Bellerin, another one. Even man like Lee Dixon, you know what I mean? That's how bad it is. I don't know at the moment, because them guys all won trophies. So that's the parameter, really. You'll change your opinion in June. I'm pretty sure I won't, clock enders. As I said, man, I'm consistent with what I'm saying. And you guys are playing today at 5:30, and I'll definitely be watching that game against Everton. And remember what I did say last week, yeah? Remember what I said? Arsenal need to beat Bayer Leverkusen so they could at least rest 1 or 2 players against Everton. Because the worst case scenario for Arsenal, which is going to happen, is that the game against Bayer Leverkusen is in the balance because it's 1-1. And again, Arsenal are favourites because they're playing at home. But this is the Champions League, you know. And as I said, don't write off Bayer Leverkusen, because in the Champions League, they've shown what a threat they are. The thing for Arsenal now is that Arsenal had to play their best team against Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, they've got to play their best team to get to today against Everton. They're gonna have to play their best team in the reverse fixture against second leg against Bayer Leverkusen, and then they've got the Carabao Cup, which they'll play their best team against Man City. So again, something has to give in these next 3 games. I think there's going to be a lot of fatigue. You know, Declan Rice, Yuri and Timber, especially. You can see that them guys are running on empty, you know, and you don't really want to wish injury on any player. But I can see one of them players, yeah, picking up an injury. You know what I mean? If they manage to get through these 3 fixtures with no injuries, then I'll be like, boy, I didn't see that coming. And like Arsenal look like they actually could do it. But I think they're gonna get some injuries, because as I said, do I believe they're going to change up their team for these next 3 games up and coming? I don't. I think Arteta is going to go full strength for the majority of his best team that he sees in every game. I'll be very surprised if he didn't, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's move on. Let's carry on. Sorry. So Samir Nasri, guys. Man City, 2 Premier League titles. Enough said. Yeah. Again, Nasri, hugely talented player, and him going to Man City, again, when he went to Man City, that was kind of like at the beginning of their takeover, the 2008 takeover, when they just started buying the best players from or the most important players from other teams. And again, him, 2 Premier League titles. Again, he goes in at number 10. And then we got the centre backs. Now, these guys are not centre backs, but I'm looking at who are the closest players that you could fit in at centre back as a left-sided and a right-sided player. Yeah. So right side centre back, we're gonna go for a guy. Again, this is a player for me that the biggest memory that I can remember of him at Arsenal was when Eden Hazard absolutely destroyed him. Eden Hazard put him on his ass, and when I see that, man, at Stamford Bridge, I just thought, yeah, this guy cannot be playing no longer for Arsenal, man. Or maybe he can. And that is Francis Coquelin. Yeah. When I see when I see Eden Hazard, yeah, absolutely destroy Coquelin for strength, yeah. Like, it was embarrassing, man, because like you're meant to be this kind of combative midfielder. And the way that Eden Hazard just swatted you away like a fly, man, it was embarrassing. But nonetheless, we have to give credit where credit's due. And Francis Coquelin, what did he win? Francis Coquelin, Villarreal, a Europa League title with Villarreal. And again, that was the Villarreal under, I believe, Unai Emery. Yeah, Unai Emery was there. So yeah, as I said, man, Coquelin for me, it wasn't Arsenal level, but at least he can go away and say, well, I did win a trophy after leaving Arsenal, or the Arsenal, as they say, which is crazy, to be fair, because like he had his strengths in terms of him being a ball winner. Now listen, Clockenders, you can't say he done absolutely nothing, man. He won a Europa League. He was starting in midfield for them as well for Villarreal, if you remember. But yeah, I think that in terms of his ability, he wasn't really there. I mean, his strengths were his ball winning, the fact that he was quite combative. I think he was useful when Arsenal were trying to hold on to a lead, because he would just try and just clear up the gap, try and plug the gaps and just commit fouls to break up play, really. That's what he was doing. But in terms of him being an absolute quality player, not for me. But again, this is a guy that won a Europa League, And then the last player we're going to put in was someone that was vilified by the fan base, someone that was, 50-50 with the fan base as well. But I think if we're being honest, yeah, I think if Arsenal had this guy right now, I'd be more concerned thinking that they are going to win this Premier League title. Because the one thing you'll say about Granit Xhaka, yeah, as much as Granit Xhaka was vilified and he was 50-50 with the fan base, one thing he had is that he's a leader. And you can see that with Sunderland, because at Sunderland, yeah, like when he plays, more or less they're a better team, because he's a natural leader, Granit Xhaka. He shows that for Switzerland as well. And I believe if you've got a Granit Xhaka in there instead of, let's say, a Martin Odegaard, I know Odegaard's playing slightly further forward than what Xhaka is. But if you've got a Granit Xhaka rather than a Odegaard, I'd be more worried about, well, not worried, but I'd be more, concerned that Arsenal will win the Premier League with him in their team. Because he's someone, that wouldn't let his head drop. He's someone that will encourage the players around him as well. And to be fair, he's an absolute leader. And look at what happened when he went to Bayer Leverkusen. You know, Granit Xhaka. What did Xhaka win? So he won a. So yeah, Xhaka won a Bundesliga and he won Bundesliga and a German Cup. And again, got beat in the was it Europa League final against Atalanta, I believe. So again, man, two trophies for Granit Xhaka. Like you can't even hate on it, man. Can't even hate on it. Big up to Fitz, big up my guy. Big up to yourself each and every time. Yeah, bro, no worries, man. No worries. As I said, been going for what? About 40 minutes. Again, if any of you have missed the beginning of it, then you guys can just catch up. But yeah, man, all well. Hope you're well too, man. Last year's Europa League final was an embarrassment. That comp is an embarrassment compared to Champions League. Come on, Gav. All right, listen, clockenders, you can't be saying that these competitions are an embarrassment when you guys haven't won it. You guys have no European pedigree, so I don't really want to be hearing that it's an embarrassment. Until you guys win a European trophy like your rivals Tottenham, then maybe we might have that conversation. But until then, nah, not here for it, man. Not here for it. You know. So yeah, Granit Xhaka, guys. One Bundesliga, one Bundesliga, one German Cup. So again, as you guys can see, yeah, just going through the 4-2-3-1 of Arsenal players that won trophies after leaving Arsenal. Wojciech Szczesny in goal, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain at right back, Ashley Cole at left back, Granit Xhaka and Francis Coquelin filling the centre backs, Cesc Fabregas, Patrick Vieira in the midfield, Nasri in the 10, Henry and Sanchez out wide, and then Robin van Persie, who's our legend, by the way, Manchester United legend, up top. And again, guys, you know, there is more players, but that was the 11. I'm now going to run through the other players, yeah, because there's 18 in total that won trophies after leaving Arsenal. Olivier Giroud. If you remember, Olivier Giroud, a guy that was, for me, underrated in this league. You know, I think people looked at him and thought he hasn't got any pace, so he's not really rated like that. And when you're in an era right now of, you know, people just like numbers, they like pace merchants. He was someone that was a pure, intelligent footballer, you know, and never more evidence when Giroud won the what did he win? The Euros with the World Cup with France, you know, having not scored a goal in the whole competition, you know. And again, people will say, oh, how's a striker not scoring a goal in a whole competition? Again, this is where balance comes into it, because Mbappe got the headlines as the attacker. But what you need to realize is that if there's no Giroud, there's no Mbappe, because Giroud was the foil for Mbappe to get the numbers. And that's how football works. You need to have someone that is unselfish, that links everything together, which allows, whether it's your star player or your most effective player, getting the numbers. So the fact that Giroud done that just shows you how intelligent he is. But him leaving Arsenal, just like many others, went to Chelsea and AC Milan, won Champions League, won Europa League, and won Serie A. So again, top player, not to mention the World Cup that he's got with France as well. And again, Giroud was a top player, man. Top player he was. And again, Van Persie's in ahead of him for obvious reasons, but I don't think people should sleep on Olivier Giroud, man. He was a top player. The other players, you had Serge Gnabry. I know someone mentioned Gnabry in earlier as well, but Gnabry, I think in total by one, has the most trophies out of all the former Arsenal players. The most trophies. You know, I know the majority of his career has been spent in Germany, and many people might say, you know, that it's a case where, you know, Bayern Munich dominate that league more times than not. And again, man, hugely successful at Bayern Munich. You know, 6 Bundesligas for Bayern Munich, one Club World Cup, 1 Champions League for Bayern Munich, for a total of 8. Yeah. And as I said, man, like, this was a guy that was on loan at West Brom, believe it or not. You know, I remember when Gnabry first come to Arsenal, you know, they were trying to make him as the next Henry, just like they done with Walcott as well. But again, him going away to Bayern Munich has probably been the best for his career because he's been hugely successful since he's gone there. 6 Bundesligas, I'd say Champions League, Club World Cup. I think he won 5 Bundesligas in a row, by the way, as well. So he's the other player. The other players you've got, where are they? Where did I put them? Yeah. The other players, you got Emiliano Martinez. I think it would have been easy to put him in as a goalkeeper. But again, Martinez won his trophies for Argentina. But I think it was worthy of a mention. Obviously he won the 2 Copa Americas and the World Cup with Argentina. And again, playing for Aston Villa. And what I would say, I know Arsenal fans will probably say David Raya, but the Martinez that's won the World Cup and the Copa Americas, I believe if he was in goal for Arsenal, they probably would have won a Premier League already. Because there's no doubt in that, just like Granit Xhaka, these guys are leaders. You know what I mean? So I know fans like David Raya, but for me, I think if Martinez was there, I'm pretty sure they would have won a Premier League title already. But yeah, again, he's there. Then you've got Gael Clichy, who I mentioned earlier, just like Nasri, 2 Premier League titles with Man City. And again, top left back, obviously played for Arsenal, City, and I'm pretty sure there's another team he played for as well. Can't remember. But he was the heir to Ashley Cole's throne, really. Again, he wasn't as good as Ashley Cole, but he was still a very, very good modern day left back, And again, the fact that he's at Arsenal, Man City just shows how highly he was thought of. French international as well, 2 league titles. And then you've got Lucas Torreira, guys, playing for Galatasaray right now. Lucas Torreira won a La Liga with Atletico Madrid, and he's won 3 Turkish Super Leagues with Galatasaray for 4 trophies. Just saying. Henrik Mkhitaryan with Roma and Inter Milan, 4 Serie A's, 1 Coppa Italia, 2 Super Coppa Italias. Yeah. Henrik Mkhitaryan, obviously, formerly of Manchester United as well. And again, didn't really have a great time in United, but the one thing that stands out for me about Mkhitaryan was, didn't he get awarded the Puskas goal, or was it someone else, for like the scorpion kind of finish that he done? If anyone remembers, I can't remember if he got awarded that, but yeah, what a player he was. Not to say what a player, but I believe like Mkhitaryan at Borussia Dortmund was top class at Borussia Dortmund when they had him. Was it him, Lewandowski? I can't remember if Shinji Kagawa was there as well. Gundogan, I think, might have been there. I can't remember the actual team, but he was a very good player at Dortmund, which prompted Man United to go in for him. But just like many top players, we just ruin them, because the fan base is allergic to good players. But Mkhitaryan, yeah, 5 trophies, Europa Conference League in there as well. So 5 trophies since leaving Arsenal. And then the last player, yeah, is someone, again, just like Martinez, one with international. But again, a player for me that when I see what Arsenal have right now in that position, in terms of Saka, Madueke, yeah, the fact that Nicolas Pepe was overlooked, was disrespected as well. And the thing is, you have to ask yourself why, because if you look at Nicolas Pepe at Arsenal, yeah, he was often the scapegoat. I don't really know why. Maybe was it because they were desperate to try and get Saka in there? I don't know. But to think that Noni Madueke, yeah, has 1 Premier League goal, and Nicolas Pepe was doing that. Nicolas Pepe surpassed that without even trying, yeah, just messing about. And again, if you look at Saka's league goals, I can't remember what Nicolas Pepe's total was, but to think that Pepe was disrespected like that, and they've got Saka, they've got Madueke, they're obviously trying to bring through Max Dowman. Again, Max Dowman's talent is definitely a talent, but he's still young. Nicolas Pepe went on to win a an AFCON with Ivory Coast. Yeah. And again, I look at their options right now, and I believe Nicolas Pepe would definitely be he would definitely be valuable for this Arsenal team right now, because you can't even tell me he wouldn't with what they've got in that position. So yeah, but guys, that's all the players that I can remember. I know someone mentioned Robert Pires as well in there. Again, I didn't see the Pires. I didn't check out the Pires one, but again, that could be another player added into that. But what I would say is there's 18 players, guys, that have won trophies since they have left Arsenal. Does anyone in the chat know how many trophies that accumulates to? And then I'll tell you. So yeah, let me know how many trophies, and I'll tell you guys the actual total. Just why I go through your questions and comments. Big Up Fitz says, how many Arsenal fans are still confident of a quadruple? Yeah, listen, let's see how many Arsenal fans are confident after tonight, because you got a tough game away at Everton, a tough game at home against Everton. You know, I think you guys are the favourites, but you know, I think Everton have had that chance to rest as well, and I reckon Everton get something from the game. I'm telling you, I'm not going to say they're going to win the game, but they're going to get something from the game. Because, as I said, Arsenal are going to have to go full strength against all the games up into the Man City. And someone's bound to get injured, man, because it's a lot of football in a short space of time. So, at high intensity as well. So, let's see. But yeah, are there any Arsenal fans that are confident of getting of doing the quadruple still? Let us know, man. Guys, we are going to be back as well at 3 o'clock today. So I'm going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes, and then be back at 3 o'clock. Just got to schedule the stream as well. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. Big up yourselves. Big up yourself. Guys, make sure we're smashing these likes. Let's try and get 10 likes as a minimum. Big up to Babs One Diva as well. So Fitz has said 50 trophies out of those 18. Okay. Guys, anyone else know how many trophies those Arsenal players, those 18 Arsenal players have got since leaving Arsenal? Put it in the chat, and then I'll reveal what the number is. So Fitz has said 50. Clock Enders, how many reckon they've got? Show me how many of those were Champions Leagues or Premier Leagues. No problem. No problem, yeah? I'll read that Champions League and Premier Leagues. Just letting you know, it's more than what your team have got, though, yeah? So we've got... And in fact, we're not going to do Premier League. We're going to do league titles for whatever different countries they were in, yeah? So... It's not looking good for you, man. I'll be honest. It's not looking good, man. Right. So, just Premier League and just league titles in different countries and Champions League, yeah? You're looking at 51 trophies won by all 18 of them players. So let me know how many you think the trophies that these guys have won in total. But just letting you know, those 18 players have won 51 trophies, which is either Premier League, league titles in different countries or Champions Leagues. 51. So yeah, let me know what you think the total number is. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. 1 out. Yeah, big up, man. Big up to Jay as well. Guys, let me know how many trophies you think altogether that those 18 players won. Fitz has said 50. Clockenders, let me know how many you think. I've let you know already that it's 51 for league titles, for titles won in them countries and Champions League. Let me know how many you think. Let me know. Exedia reckons 85. Bloody hell. It's a big number. If you're adding in Perez, yeah, then maybe, but Perez wasn't in there for me. Hey, stop swerving the question and answer. Stop swerving the question, clock enders. Let us know how many you think you guys won. Them players won. Yeah, Fitz, I think you're right, by the way. I think you are right. Nah, you're not actually. You're not. Nah, Ashley Cole has equal amount. Premier League and Champions League. Equal amount. All right, guys, I'll let you know because Clock Enders is swerving it, yeah? So those 18 players between them, yeah, have gone on to win 64 trophies since leaving Arsenal. 64. Crazy. That is absolutely crazy to win 64 trophies between 18 players since leaving Arsenal. And Arsenal, since that time, them players have left. I believe have won, I think, 1 or 2 trophies. Again, someone try and check that if you can. No, did Ashley Cole win a Champions League? Yeah, he did. If you remember, Ashley Cole was in the team when Drogba scored the winning penalty. Ashley Cole was there, I think. Yeah, I think Ashley Cole was in the team with Drogba. So Van Persie hurts, but I remember at the time we was all up in arms about the squad not being good enough because it wasn't. We later found out that he wasn't offered a contract. Yeah, all right. Listen, you can do all the revisionism for Van Persie all you want, man. But listen, he come and won us a title, man. I don't even want to hear that no more. Don't even want to hear that. Yeah, Ashley Cole won Champions League. Did he won it at Yeah, he won it at what's the name at Chelsea when Drogba scored the winning penalty against Bayern Munich. A hitman job. I hear it. What a hitman he was, by the way. So yeah, guys, 64 trophies for those players. Absolutely crazy, man. So I swear Arsenal have only won 3 Premier Leagues and no Champions League. So that doesn't mean Cole has won more alone. Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. Ashley Cole has won 7 trophies since leaving Arsenal. 7 trophies. He's won 4 FA Cups, 1 Champions League, 1 Premier League, and 1 Europa League. Yeah. All the Fitz, put it this way, yeah. Put it this way, yeah. I'll give you the individual numbers just so we're aware, yeah. Spare me 1 minute. One second. So I'm gonna read them out individually, yeah. Henry has won 4 trophies since leaving Barca. Ashley Cole's won 7. Van Persie won the 1 with us, Man United. Cesc Fabregas won 5. Olivier Giroud won 3. Granit Xhaka won 2. Alexis Sanchez won 3. Serge Gnabry won 8. Oxlade Chamberlain has won 3. Szczesny has won 5. Vieira has won 6. Who else is there? Emiliano Martinez, obviously international, has won 3. Nasri's won 2. Clichy's won 2. Coquelin has won 1. Lucas Torreira's won 4. Mkhitaryan's won 5. And Nicolas Pepe, obviously with Ivory Coast, won the 1. So again, 18 players, 64 trophies between 18 players. So yeah, it is crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Van Persie won 2 with you. No, we won 1 league title with Van Persie, man. 1 league title. Oh, Alex Song. Okay, let's check out Alex Song. Let me check out Alex Song. Forgot about Alex Song. Big up Fitz, man. Let's check out Perez while we're there as well, actually. Give me 1 minute. So Alex Song, boy, not looking good, man. Alex Song has won 4 major club trophies since leaving Arsenal in 2012. So he's won 4. So make that 68. Make that 68, guys. Alex Song makes it 68. Let's do Perez. What's Perez won? So Perez has won. Oh, okay, Perez didn't win not 1. Fair enough. Yeah, Perez didn't win a trophy, single trophy since leaving Arsenal. At least, Coquelin, at least you got someone there that you can look at, man. But Alex Song makes it 68. So 68 trophies from 19 Arsenal players since they've left Arsenal. I'm just saying, yeah, that is absolutely embarrassing. That is embarrassing. But again, we're meant to believe that the quadruple's on. Meant to believe the quadruple's on, yeah? Don't make me laugh, man. Box Fresh says, what's the point? You can do those stats any team. I'll tell you what the point is, yeah? It's a stream that I'm doing on the amount of Arsenal players that have left Arsenal to go and win a trophy since they last won one. That is the point. And 19 players have got 68 trophies between them. Yeah? In that time, I believe Arsenal have won 2 trophies, I believe. Again, if anyone can check it, since those players have left, you'll find out that it's 1 or 2 trophies. And if you think that's that is acceptable, I'm sorry, man. Don't know what to say, because that's an absolute disgrace that Arsenal can have spend all this money, yeah, and those players leaving the club have gone on to win trophies before Arsenal win anything serious. And again, a lot of the Arsenal fans are saying quadruple this season. Yeah. Why should we be believing that Arsenal can win a quadruple when they can't win a single? These are facts. These are the absolute facts. So that's the point. Nah, no charity shields in there, man. The quadruple talks got real quiet. But listen, this is what these guys do, etc. This is what these guys do. Quadruple this, quadruple that. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, they get smoked by Leverkusen and were lucky to even get that penalty, which wasn't a penalty. And all of a sudden now, there's no talk. And don't be surprised, guys, yeah, if they don't pick up maximum points against Everton. I'm just saying. Because that first game against Everton away, realistically, that should have been a draw. You know, and obviously now they're gonna have to go full throttle against Everton, Bayer Leverkusen, and City. You can do those stats with Spurs, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc. Pointless stat. Box Fresh. I'll tell you why it's not a pointless stat, yeah? Because you've mentioned Spurs, Liverpool, and Chelsea. All 3 of those teams have European heritage. They all have European heritage. And they have all won trophies more recent than Arsenal. That is the point. Yeah, so it's not a pointless stat. I'm just showing you that the Arsenal fan base talk too much. Yeah, and the thing is, you know, you're mentioning Spurs, Chelsea, and Liverpool. These teams have all won trophies before Arsenal. Yeah, Europa League, title, Premier League, Champions League. You guys ain't won 1 Champions League. And you haven't won a league title for 20 plus years. What are we talking about? Gav, Benitez with the facts. Yeah, listen, man. We don't miss on it. I'm telling you. No, but it's still a trophy. Doesn't matter what you say. Cut it. And yes, exactly, bro. You never want to lose abroad. The exact same game is seen as in the much higher regard. We will beat Leverkusen. You're hoping too hard. Listen, you guys are the favorites because you're at home. But, you know, there was Mamba that was saying that we're going to smoke by Leverkusen. Obviously not in them words, but he was more or less saying that you guys are going to batter by Leverkusen. And if we're being serious, that was never a penalty given on Madueke. Like he left his foot there to get touched and then he goes down. If that was in the Premier League, yeah, that's not given. So again, you guys are the favorites, but listen, you're gonna have to play a strong team all the way up until you play Man City in the Carabao Cup final. Something has to give. Just saying. Just saying. But guys, listen up. We are going to be back at 3 o'clock. Make sure you guys come back at 3 o'clock. I just got to sort the stream out now anyway. But as always, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here. And make sure you share the channel as well on all your social media platforms. And as I said, yeah, I'll be back at 3 o'clock, which is about an hour and 15 minutes time. So yeah, big up to all the mods as well for coming through. And yeah, I'm just going to set up the stream now. And then, yeah, I'll be back at 3 o'clock. Big up yourselves. And I'll catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.